In the world of fiction, there are several types of horror. In fact, you can actually make a horror story out of just about anything. If you present a force that is very difficult or nigh impossible to fight against, and your only reaction is to run away under the fear of death, you've got a level of horror. However, some people, when they think of horror, have a certain expectation. Usually has to do with big scary monsters or supernatural forces or something like that. Well, we do have big scary monsters today. We're going to make a return to the series of G Gundam, while we discuss the absolute horror of the Devil Gundam. In this little series of mine, we've gone over all of the Unicorn Gundams, the Blue Destiny, the Slave Wraith, Wing Zero, and Epion. All of these are horrifying weapons of war. The Devil Gundam is a bit different, because the purpose of the machine and how it ended up being what it is are two completely different situations. This mobile suit was originally called the Ultimate Gundam, and was meant for a very positive purpose. You see, in the world of G Gundam, the Earth has been ravaged by several wars, to the point where they've decided to throw war out the window, and just have a martial arts tournament called the Gundam Fight, which has taken over for military conflict, so less lives will be spent over territorial disputes. The Earth itself is still in a bad spot, though. In just about any episode of G Gundam that's on the planet itself, you see several landmarks that are world famous that have fallen into disrepair, plus just general damage from the conflicts that have taken place. Dr. Raizo Kashu developed this machine as a solution to the damage to the planet itself. The initial idea was really simple. Send it down to Earth, let it fix things. However, the Neo-Japanese government had different ideas, and tried to seize the machine. During the process of this hostile takeover, Dr. Kashu's wife was murdered, and his son, Kyoji, took the machine and fled. Though he managed to get successfully to the Earth, the re-entry process damaged the machine and its ability to think clearly, so to speak. It does have an AI in it. So if you've ever seen The Terminator, The Animatrix, or Red Eye Robot, you can imagine what happens next. The Ultimate Gundam becomes the Devil Gundam, the instant that it decides that the best way to save the Earth is to destroy humanity. At this point, it uses Kyoji as the core life unit of the machine, and sets off to start its terrible mission. Domon Kashu is then informed that his father has been imprisoned, and the only way to free him is to win the Gundam Fight Tournament for Neo-Japan. He must also go to the Earth and destroy the Devil Gundam on top of that. They also lie to him and tell him that his brother is the one who engineered all of this, and must be stopped. So to start this whole situation off, we have an AI-driven Gundam, meant to save the planet, that now decides, hey, Skynet did nothing wrong. We have a guy who tried to get this monstrous machine away from a very corrupt government that would have clearly abused its power, and now he's enslaved by the damn thing. His little brother now has to come try and kill him. All of this is mortifying from the jump. But now we get into exactly what makes this mobile suit so frightening. The one specific piece of technology that is used in the most horrifying manners, the DG cell. When we see the close-up of these things, they look like little crystalline microscopic organisms. However, what these things can do is pretty substantial. Everything that's infected by them comes under the control of the Dark Gundam for the most part. The one example that is an outlier is Schwartz Bruder, who was a DG cell-created clone of Kyoji. But then again, given that he was a projection of the life unit of the Devil Gundams, it's very possible that he actually had the ability to resist the Devil Gundam, given that his consciousness was actually in that body itself. Most people infected with the DG cells have either one or two things happen to them. One is that they become completely and totally under the control of the Devil Gundam. We saw this with the 4 pilots who would end up becoming the Shuffle Alliance when they fought against our hero Domon in Shinjuku. The infection was so severe that the previous Shuffle Alliance had to give their own lives and use their own martial arts powers to separate the DG cells from the people that had been infected with them and basically heal them from the infection. Now with Chibity, George, Saisaishi, and Argo, it's entirely possible that these guys were early on in their infection. Given that their support crews were in stasis underneath the city, it is possible that it takes a little bit of time to infect them as well, because those same pods were used to infect other people. But so far, the only cure that we've seen is martial arts energy hijinks, since the fighter of Neo-Turkey could only really be healed through the use of Domon and his special martial arts mumbo-jumbo powers given to him by the King of Hearts symbol. Before you ask, no, I don't have any real explanation for why Domon and the Shuffle Alliance were able to do this through sheer martial arts power. It's like trying to explain Hokuto no Ken and how it can do everything that it can do. There's an explanation, I guess, but is it really going to make any scientific sense? No. When Domon in the final battle is actually channeling energy for the Sekiha Tekyoken, and you see gravity behind him literally working in reverse, I don't think that it's a smart idea to actually question it. It's just fiction. It's giant robot fiction. I'm perfectly fine with weird stuff happening. I'm not on the spectrum. I don't need an explanation for everything. It can just be what it is. Now, the other thing that we see with DG cells is what happens when you're infected for a long amount of time. It actually turns you into a zombie. And I mean an actual zombie. We find this out when Master Asia and Domon face off against the Dark Army, and we see one of its pilots crawl out of the cockpit. As we can see beneath Shinjuku, when the Gundam crews are rescued, the entire city was zombified by the Dark Gundam and its DG cells. So effectively, this thing went from being a mobile suit meant to heal the Earth to a mobile suit that makes its own extra robots that are piloted by something out of a George Romero movie. What makes it even tougher is that everything that it touches is super hard to kill. You see, the Devil Gundam has 3 theoretical abilities: self-evolution, self-replication, and self-regeneration. This machine is already incredibly powerful. The Neo-Japanese sent a substantial military force to try to capture it when it went to Earth, what looked like over 100 mobile suits, and every single one of them got shellacked. There was only one survivor who was effectively a slave of the Dark Gundam for the entire show, but only revealed himself at the end. So you've already got a Gundam that is super powerful by its lonesome with the armament it already has. And then on top of that, it's able to make its own army. The self-evolution allows it to continue to evolve into different forms. Not only that, but it can give the same ability to other mobile suits. We saw that with the Neros Gundam and the John Bull Gundam. These would turn into the Grand Gundam and the Heaven's Sword Gundam, quite literally in the middle of fights. It even enhanced the abilities of those infected, with Mikolo Chariot able to kick an office building and cut it in half. You see Argo Gulski literally chucking trains at Domon Kashu, so on and so forth. The self-regeneration is actually how it created the zombies. What's worse is that it could even reanimate long-dead corpses. A good example would be Dahal Muhammad of Neo-Egypt, a fighter who was actually killed by Sai Saishi's grandfather many Gundam fights before. The Mummy Gundam would be resurrected, and ultimately was put down in a combined effort by the Dragon Gundam and the Shining Gundam. It literally takes the Shining Finger Sword to the face. Now, the saddest one that gets zombified, though, is actually Gentle Chapman. Now, I mentioned Gentle Chapman briefly in my review of the show, but I feel the need to mention him more here because I feel like it shows the depravity of the Devil Gundam if I discuss it right now. Gentle Chapman was a 2-time Gundam fight champion. He was a noble man, and always tried to fight fair. He was a true English gentleman, so to speak, which in this day and age is a rare thing, both in real life and in this Gundam show. Even though he was getting a ton of aid from his wife during the fight, he still had the mentality that the best man deserved to win. Unfortunately, at the end, as an illness and a stimulant addiction took him, he was still someone that was respectable and would go down as a legend, and as someone for Gundam fighters to aspire to be like. Yeah, the Devil Gundam turned him into a murderous zombie. He quite literally is used like a tool to kill foreign diplomats, and is so far gone he can't even speak. He's basically the Terminator. Imagine that for a second. You die in your wife's arms, satisfied that you lived a good life as an honorable fighter and a good man. Then you wake up. Somehow you're alive again. Oh, and you have no control over anything. And you're getting turned into the exact antithesis of what you used to be. You're even entering the finals of the Gundam Fight tournament unfairly, which you would be totally against. Oh, and you're murdering people now, just in cold blood, and you can't stop yourself. If that's not salt on the wound, I don't know what is. Then there's just the simple fact that this monstrous machine became the size of a colony once it got its hands on a life unit that was more appropriate, i.e. a woman, since the machine needs a life unit that's capable of giving life itself. I think this goes without saying that it's really hard to think of a mobile suit that really is more horrifying in looks and application than the Devil Gundam. The ability for it to do everything that it did, all of the dark things that it did, the evil look of the damn thing. Not to mention, again, it creates zombies. Plus, the sorrow and pain that it inflicted is substantial to say the least. Again, not only does it have the creep factor in mind control and, again, zombies and all that fun stuff, but it also has just a simple fact that it tore entire lives apart. It desecrated the graves of honorable men. It ripped entire families asunder and almost destroyed the Earth and its colonies. It's a level that's really hard to match. But that is the terror of the Devil Gundam. If you think there's any elements that I missed about this particular machine, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comments below. Even tell me your favorite thing about this damn thing. Also, don't forget to become a member of the channel to help support us and what we do here financially. And then, of course, like, share, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. My name is BigMicahC, your favorite vanilla gorilla, and I will see you all next time.